There are a lot of games dropping for Nintendo Switch 2 right now, and honestly, some of them are flying completely under the radar. Whether you're into tight puzzle mechanics, emotional story-driven adventures, chaotic open worlds, or cozy experiences you can just melt into, this lineup has something that's probably going to surprise you. MotionRec is one of those games that grabbed my attention the second I heard how it works, because the core mechanic is genuinely clever. You record your own movements and then replay them to build the solution to each puzzle. At first, it might look like a standard puzzle platformer, but once that concept clicks, the whole experience shifts. Every move you make becomes part of the answer to something that happens later, which means you're essentially choreographing your own strategy in real time. What really gets me is how naturally this fits the Switch's handheld style. Short sessions, tricky stages, experimenting with different recorded paths until everything lines up perfectly. These puzzles aren't about reflexes alone. They're about planning, timing, and creativity. And when a solution finally works, it hits different, because you literally built every single step that led to it. Kena Bridge of Spirits is one of those games that already feels legendary in its own right, and seeing it land on Nintendo hardware genuinely feels like a moment worth celebrating. The visuals alone are enough to stop you in your tracks. This world looks like it stepped straight out of a beautifully animated film, the kind that makes you want to just sit and stare. But once you actually start playing, you realize pretty quickly that the looks are just the beginning. You play as Kena, a young spirit guide whose job is to help lost souls find their way to the next world. That premise sets the tone for everything. This isn't your typical action adventure. It's a journey built around mystery, healing, and moments that genuinely hit you emotionally. Along the way, you collect tiny spirit companions called the Rot, and they might just be my favorite part of the whole experience.
Something tells me you did not come to our village looking for forest creatures.
If you've been sleeping on Tetris 99 lately, the 50-second Maximus Cup is exactly the kind of event that pulls you right back in. This time, the theme is full-on cosmic, inspired by the legendary Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2. And the moment you load into a match during the event, it genuinely stops feeling like a normal round of Tetris. It feels like a themed festival, where every block you place gets you one step closer to unlocking something special. What I love most about these Maximus Cup events is how they turn competition into a reward-driven experience. You're not just playing to survive, you're earning points, and every match and every placement matters. Stack up enough points, and you unlock an exclusive in-game theme that changes the background visuals, sound effects, and music to celebrate the Mario Galaxy universe. The Eternal Life of Goldman is one of those games that catches your eye immediately, and once you look closer, you realize there's a lot more going on beneath the surface. Visually, it looks like something pulled straight out of a beautifully illustrated storybook, but the world hiding underneath that charm is darker, stranger, and far more mysterious than it first appears. You play as Goldman, an elderly adventurer who travels to a strange archipelago on a mission that sounds straightforward at first but quickly spirals into something far more dangerous. He's searching for a mythical deity that everyone seems to know about, but nobody has actually seen. What fascinates me most is how the game blends classic platforming with exploration and storytelling in ways that feel genuinely fresh. Goldman's cane isn't just for walking, it becomes your primary tool for combat, traversal, and survival.
A spry old fellow for someone so clearly beyond his expiration date. He brought inevitable pain? Fossil. Maybe he'd pester everyone with endless questions. Or
Bluey's Happy Snaps is exactly what it sounds like. Pure comfort gaming, and honestly, I think that's a beautiful thing. The whole adventure kicks off when Bluey and Bingo discover Dad's old camera, and what starts as a playful little moment quickly turns into a full family journey across familiar locations, capturing memories along the way. That concept fits the Bluey universe perfectly. What sets this game apart, though, is how it transforms the world of the show into something genuinely interactive. You're not racing or fighting, you're wandering through iconic places inspired by Brisbane, snapping photos of wildlife, finding hidden surprises, and building scrapbooks filled with your favorite shots. It gives off serious Pokemon Snap energy, where the joy comes from exploration and patience rather than competition. Goat Simulator 3 is the kind of game where chaos isn't just tolerated, it's the entire point, and I mean that in the best possible way. You step into the hooves of Pilgor the goat, and from that moment on, the world is basically your personal playground for destruction. Headbutt objects, lick random things, launch yourself into the air, and cause absolute nonsense wherever you wander. There are no rules here, and the game is fully aware of that. What really makes this one shine is the massive open world called San Angora, which is packed with strange events, hidden secrets, mini-games, and activities that feel like they were designed by someone whose only goal was to make you laugh out loud. You can explore the whole thing alone or team up with friends in cooperative multiplayer, which predictably turns every session into something completely unpredictable. If you've spent any real time with fighting games, the name Virtua Fighter carries serious weight, and Virtua Fighter 5 R.E.V.O. World Stage feels less like a port and more like a proper celebration of a franchise that helped define the entire 3D fighting genre. Seeing it arrive on Nintendo hardware again genuinely feels like history repeating itself in the best possible way. On the surface, the gameplay revolves around a classic 3-button system: punch, kick, and guard. And that simplicity is almost deceptive, because underneath it sits one of the deepest combat systems in the genre. Every fight feels like a chess match played at lightning speed. You're not just throwing attacks and hoping for the best. You're reading your opponent, predicting their next move, and reacting in fractions of a second. The Midnight Walk is the kind of game that makes you stop and stare the moment you see it, because visually it looks unlike almost anything else out there. This isn't a dark fantasy in the traditional sense, it feels more like stepping inside a strange handcrafted nightmare built entirely from clay and brought to life through stop-motion animation. The moment it starts moving, you realize you're looking at something genuinely artistic. You play as a mysterious figure known as the Burnt One, who forms an unlikely bond with a small lantern-like creature named Potboy. From that point on, the entire adventure is built around one fragile, constant idea: protecting that little flame while moving through a world that has been completely swallowed by darkness. And that idea creates tension that never really lets go.
The fools lost in the woods.
Just hearing the name Super Meat Boy is enough to make your hands tense up a little, and Super Meat Boy 3, now going by Super Meat Boy 3D, takes everything that made the series legendary and pushes it into a completely new dimension. Literally. Instead of the tight, brutal 2D levels the series built its reputation on, this time you're jumping, wall running, and dodging traps through fully three-dimensional stages that feel even more unpredictable and punishing than before. That transition to 3D is a genuinely big deal for a series like this. You're still controlling Meat Boy, that tiny, relentless red hero, charging through environments packed with spinning saw blades, crushing machines, and jumps that demand absolute precision. The core philosophy hasn't changed one bit. One mistake ends you instantly, but the game puts you right back into the action without a second of delay.
Super Meat Boy!
City Town isn't just a small content drop for Hello Kitty Island Adventure. It genuinely feels like a whole new chapter added on top of everything that already makes the base game so easy to get lost in. If you've already been building friendships and decorating your island, this expansion gives you something fresh to focus on. A brand new city that starts out completely quiet and empty, then slowly transforms into a lively, colorful hub full of personality as you put in the work. The heart of City Town is rebuilding and customization. You're not just visiting a new place, you're actively shaping it, restoring buildings, opening shops, and creating spaces like arcades, cafes, and other themed spots that give the town its own life and character. Watching something grow from nothing into a full community is genuinely satisfying in a way that cozy games do better than almost any other genre. Darwin's Paradox is one of those games that catches your eye immediately, and a big part of that is just how unusual the main character is. You're not playing as a warrior or a wizard, you're controlling Darwin, a small octopus who gets ripped from the ocean and thrown headfirst into a strange, dangerous world run by a mysterious corporation called UFOOD Incorporated. That setup alone makes the whole thing feel fresh right from the opening moments. But what really sets this game apart is how being an octopus actually changes everything about how you move and interact with the world. It's not just a visual choice, it fundamentally shapes the gameplay. You crawl across surfaces, squeeze through tight spaces, climb objects, and use your flexible tentacles to solve puzzles and escape threats in ways that feel genuinely creative. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate Gold Edition is pure arcade-style chaos, and I mean that as the highest possible compliment. The setup is classic Turtles. Master Splinter has been kidnapped, and the four brothers dive headfirst into New York City to bring him back. Simple, effective, and exactly the kind of motivation you need before a fight. What makes this one genuinely addictive is the roguelike structure underneath all that brawling energy. Every run feels different because the levels shift, rooms rearrange themselves, and enemy encounters change each time you play. You're never just repeating the same path. You're constantly adapting, testing new upgrades, and discovering different strategies on the fly. Each turtle also brings a completely distinct fighting style to the table. Leonardo offers balance, Raphael hits with raw aggression, Donatello brings technical reach, and Michelangelo keeps things fast and unpredictable.
Wish the others were here. I sound cool? Those pea brains are a joke.